The Cleveland Browns organization is facing a firestorm of controversy that has the entire NFL world talking. And honestly, folks, what I'm about to show you is going to make your jaw drop. We're not talking about missed assignments here. We're talking about something far more sinister. Something that has fans, analysts, and even rival players questioning the very integrity of professional football. Picture this scene. It's 4th and 1. The kind of moment where championship teams dig deep, where millions of dollars of talent are supposed to prove their worth, where men become legends. But what transpired on this particular play has gone viral for all the wrong reasons, and the footage is the indisputable evidence of an alleged internal breakdown that is tearing this franchise apart from the inside. It's legitimate film evidence that has even the most skeptical analysts raising their eyebrows and asking uncomfortable questions. It all traces back to one specific play from a recent Browns game, a clip that a dedicated TikTok user uncovered, and a prominent voice in the football community immediately amplified, causing an explosion across every major social media platform imaginable. Millions have now watched the tape. Thousands are commenting. And the consensus is chilling. Something here simply does not add up. The Browns lined up for a crucial 4th and 1. Football at its most fundamental level. You need 36 inches of push from professional athletes who have trained their entire lives for this moment. Yet what happened next was absolutely bizarre, leading to a turnover on downs and another lost opportunity that slipped through their fingers like sand in an hourglass. We need to break down exactly what the film reveals, because the details matter when you're talking about a potential betrayal. Right tackle Jack Conklin, a veteran who has been in the league long enough to know better, commits an act that has veteran coaches shaking their heads in disbelief. Instead of engaging with the defender right in front of him, instead of using his superior size and strength to create a necessary push at the line of scrimmage, Conklin essentially launches himself through the air like he's auditioning for a Superman movie. I am not exaggerating here. The man literally leaves his feet flying past his assignment and leaving the defender completely unblocked with a clear, devastating path to the backfield. You might try to rationalize it, a blown assignment, a miscommunication, but wait, because that's just the first layer of this shocking sabotage on the play. Before Conklin even makes his inexplicable flight, the footage appears to show a clear false start in the backfield that somehow doesn't get flagged by the officials. A player illegally gets set in motion, but the referees apparently decided to keep their flags in their pockets for this critical violation. But the absolute worst part, the most damning piece of evidence, involves left guard Joel Bitonio, the supposed veteran leader of this offensive line, the one who's paid millions to set the tone and hold everyone accountable. He proceeds to completely whiff on his own assignment. We're not talking about getting beat by a superior pass rush move. We're talking about Bitonio literally falling to the ground without making any meaningful contact with anyone. It's like watching a professional slip on a banana peel. Except this is the National Football League, and the future of a rookie quarterback is on the line. The result of this inexplicable comedy of errors, this absolute tragedy of poor execution, or worse, is that two defenders come through completely untouched. The play never had a prayer, and rookie quarterback Shador Sanders, who's already dealing with enough pressure, gets swarmed before he can even think about moving the chains. But this shocking failure wasn't a one-off. It was the visible peak of a deeply submerged problem that had been festering for weeks. The evolving pattern of calculated dysfunction. The disturbing truth is that this isn't an isolated incident. This isn't a fluke we can simply write off as an anomaly. Over the past several weeks, a growing library of footage has emerged, showing a very clear and alarming pattern of questionable offensive line play. Specifically and conspicuously when Shador Sanders is on the field. The clips are everywhere. Offensive linemen appearing to actively shun Sanders' protection. Linemen bizarrely blocking their own teammates instead of the opposing defence. And a level of dysfunction that goes far beyond simple lack of chemistry or basic mistakes. Think about the gravity of this for a young quarterback who came into the league with immense expectations and the pedigree of an NFL legend. All his arm talent, his high football IQ, and his immense upside are completely negated if the five guys paid millions of dollars to protect him are either completely incompetent or, as some are now shouting, intentionally undermining his success. The psychological and developmental cost of this pattern cannot be overstated. A rookie QB needs to build confidence, establish timing, and learn to trust his progressions. All of that becomes nearly impossible when he's getting hit on every other play. When you are constantly under pressure, when you cannot trust the protection unit to give you the 2 or 3 seconds you need to let plays develop downfield, you start to see ghosts. You develop happy feet. Your internal clock speeds up, and you rush throws, which leads to poor decisions and a complete collapse of potential. This kind of environment doesn't just stunt a young quarterback's growth, it can break them completely, robbing them of their confidence and turning a promising career into a cautionary tale. The most frustrating part is the financial betrayal. Jack Conklin and Joel Bitonio have been compensated with multi-million-dollar contracts, making them among the highest paid at their positions. Yet the product they are putting on the field looks like something you'd expect from a struggling college team. The spotlight now turns, however, on the veteran who's supposed to be the team's ultimate guardian, Joel Bitonio. Joel Bitonio is particularly fascinating in this conversation because he is positioned as the unimpeachable leader of this offensive line. He is the veteran voice, the respected figure who is supposed to set the standard both on and off the field. He has been giving statements trying to control the narrative, acting as the de facto captain of the protection unit. But when you watch the film, when you see him literally falling to the ground without making any effort to block anyone, it raises serious, unsettling questions about his leadership, his accountability, and what's really going on inside that Browns facility. The conflict between his public profile and the damning visual evidence of his non-performance is a chasm that cannot be ignored. Every professional athlete is taught the unwritten code of the locker room. The offensive line must always protect the quarterback. Violating this code, especially as a veteran leader, is a career-defining act that casts a dark shadow over an entire legacy. If this is simply incompetence, then D'Antonio's ability to lead or even perform the basics of his job is fundamentally compromised. But if it is intentional, if the leader of the unit is actively contributing to the unit's collapse when the rookie is under center, then the whispers of internal dissent become a terrifying reality. Could this be jealousy over Sanders's draft status or the excessive media attention he receives? Is it resentment about how the team is being built or how resources are being allocated? Or is there some personal conflict with the quarterback that has tragically spilled onto the field? These are serious, explosive accusations that should not be made lightly, but the film simply begs the question. The timing of this entire situation is a disaster for Cleveland, an organization that has struggled for decades to find stability at the quarterback position. They finally found a potential future in Sanders, and now they are dealing with an offensive line controversy that threatens to derail everything before it even gets started. But the deepest secrets are often revealed not by winning, but by the pain and scrutiny of constant loss. H3 revealed through an outsider's lens. The contrast with other rookie quarterbacks this season provides a powerful external validator for the crisis in Cleveland. Take Cam Ward, for example, who was drafted by another team and has been dealing with his own normal rookie challenges. Ward recently spoke to the media about the normal growing pains every rookie QB experiences. Timing issues with receivers, learning to read complex NFL defenses, adjusting to the blistering speed of the professional game. These are surmountable obstacles, the kind that are overcome with hard work and dedication. But when Ward was asked specifically about Shedeur Sanders, his answer was incredibly revealing and diplomatic. Ward acknowledged that every rookie's journey is different, but then he dropped the bomb. He said he doesn't know what's going on in Cleveland's building and doesn't know what Sanders has to deal with on a daily basis, in and out of the facility. That is a subtle yet profound way of saying that Ward recognizes Sanders might be dealing with challenges that go far beyond the typical rookie struggles. Ward also made a fascinating, almost philosophical statement about the nature of competition and failure, stating that sometimes you have to lose to win, and that while winning reveals a lot, losing reveals everything. In winning, there's often a lot of that gets covered up, hidden beneath the celebratory headlines and the feel-good stories. But when you are losing, when things are falling apart, that is when the truth comes out. That is when you see people's true character. And that is when you discover who is really committed to the team and who is just going through the motions, or, far worse, actively working against success. This philosophy applies directly to what we're seeing with the Cleveland Browns offensive line. The continuous losses are revealing everything. The film doesn't lie. It shows exactly what's happening on every single snap. No amount of press conference spin or social media damage control can change what is clearly visible on the tape. This brings us back to the ultimate explosive question that has the football world divided. The question that dominates every NFL discussion forum is simple, yet profound. Is this incompetence, or is this intentional? Are we watching a poorly coached, fundamentally broken offensive line that has suddenly forgotten the basics of blocking? Or are we witnessing something more deliberate, something truly sinister? Let's address the incompetence argument first. These are fundamental techniques we're talking about. Engaging with the defender in front of you, maintaining proper footwork and hand placement, staying on your feet and finishing blocks. This is offensive line 101. Stuff that these players learned in high school and perfected in college. If the coaching is adequate and the players are still performing this poorly, then personnel changes need to be made immediately. There are countless offensive linemen who would jump at the chance to suit up for an NFL team. And if the current highly paid starters can't or won't do their jobs, they need to be replaced. But if this is something more intentional, then the Browns have a much, much bigger problem on their hands. This suggests a complete breakdown in team culture, a toxic environment where veterans are undermining the success of a rookie quarterback for reasons that remain unclear. The sabotage argument is the more dramatic interpretation, and we must approach such allegations with appropriate skepticism, because intentionally playing poorly would seem to go against their own self-interest and future contracts. Yet you watch the film again. You see Conklin launching himself into space instead of engaging the defender right in front of him. You see Bitonio falling down like he's been shot by an invisible sniper. You see Sanders getting hit again and again. And you start to wonder if maybe, just maybe, there's more to this story than simple mistakes. The psychological toll on Sanders cannot be overstated. This is how quarterbacks get broken. This is how they develop happy feet and start seeing ghosts in the pocket, turning a promising trajectory into a cautionary tale before it ever truly gets started. While the film points fingers at the players, the silence from the organization screams of a deeper organizational rot. The deafening silence of the organization's PR nightmare. Perhaps the most damning aspect of the entire situation is the organization's complete and utter silence. There have been no public statements addressing the offensive line's performance. no credible explanations for the repeated breakdowns, and no announcements of coaching changes or player accountability measures. The silence is absolutely deafening, and it only adds jet fuel to the speculation fire that is raging across the internet. From a coaching perspective, this situation should be entirely unacceptable. Where are the coaches holding people responsible? Where is the front office stepping in to demand better? In most professions, if you consistently fail to perform the most basic requirements of your job, there are immediate consequences. You get demoted, you get fired, you get replaced. But in the NFL, particularly with veteran players who have guaranteed contracts and large cap hits, there appears to be a much greater tolerance for this kind of catastrophic underperformance. The viral nature of this footage has created an absolute PR nightmare for Cleveland. Millions of people have now seen these clips. They've watched Conklin's inexplicable leap and Bitonio's mysterious fall. They've seen the detailed analysis breaking down exactly what went wrong on these plays. The court of public opinion has rendered its verdict, and it is overwhelmingly not favourable to the Browns' offensive line. These players are being dragged on social media. Their professionalism is questioned. Their commitment is doubted. This is a level of scrutiny that extends far beyond the typical sports talk show and has crossed over into mainstream coverage. Analysts on every major network are discussing the Browns' offensive line play, and former NFL players are weighing in with their opinions, universally calling the play unacceptable. The silence from the organization has allowed this crisis to grow from a simple on-field issue into a national scandal, and the clock is ticking on their reputation. The Browns are at a career-defining crossroads. The future of their franchise hangs on their next move. This situation represents a critical juncture in Shedeur Sanders's young career. How he responds to this overwhelming adversity, how he handles the pressure of playing behind an allegedly dysfunctional offensive line, will largely determine what kind of NFL quarterback he ultimately becomes. Some young quarterbacks simply crumble under this kind of stress. The constant pressure, the lack of protection, the relentless hits, it all becomes too much, and they never fulfill their potential. But other quarterbacks use adversity as powerful fuel. They develop quicker releases to compensate for poor protection. They become more decisive with their reads. They learn to feel pressure and manipulate the pocket, even when it's collapsing around them. The greatest quarterbacks in NFL history often had to overcome difficult, even toxic situations early in their careers. And those challenges made them stronger, more resilient, and more resourceful. The question is, which path will Sanders take? Does he have the mental toughness to persevere through this ongoing nightmare scenario? Or will this experience leave lasting scars that prevent him from ever reaching his full potential? The Browns organization has two choices. They can either address this situation head-on, make the necessary changes, and commit to building around Shedeur Sanders properly. Or they can continue down this path of organizational dysfunction and watch another promising young quarterback's career get derailed before it ever truly gets started. One thing remains absolutely clear. The film will continue to tell the story. Every snap is recorded. Every block or lack thereof is captured on camera. And every time a Browns offensive lineman fails to do his job, the evidence will be there for everyone to see. This is a story that transcends football. It's about professionalism, accountability, and whether veterans will support and protect a young player, or whether they'll leave him out to dry. The viral footage of Jack Conklin's Superman dive and Joel Bitonio's mysterious tumble will live forever on the internet. A permanent digital scar on the franchise's reputation. So there you have it, folks. The most bizarre offensive line controversy in recent memory. Captured on film for the world to see and judge. The Browns are in crisis mode, whether they want to admit it or not. And Shedeur Sanders is caught in the middle of a damn mess that no rookie quarterback should ever have to face. Now it's your turn to weigh in on this explosive controversy. What do you truly believe is happening with the Browns' offensive line? Is this simply a case of gross incompetence and abysmal coaching, or is there a genuine sinister element of intentional sabotage at play? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below, because I want to hear your take on this unbelievable situation.